In the ruins of a defeated Germany, a dark shadow crept through the streets of Hanover. People whispered about missing boys, but no one imagined the horror that hid behind Fritz Haarmann's quiet smile. Known as the Butcher of Berlin, Haarmann was a respected police informant by day and a ruthless predator by night. Between 1918 and 1924, he lured, killed, and butchered at least 24 young men. Some say the true number is even higher. This is the disturbing story of how a cannibal killer thrived during one of Germany's most chaotic times. Germany in the 1920s was a nation shattered by war. The Treaty of Versailles had crippled its economy. Inflation soared, families starved, and many children were forced onto the streets. Amid this turmoil, Fritz Haarmann found his hunting ground. The broken system allowed him to go unnoticed. Because when society crumbles, monsters rise. Boys disappeared, but police had little time or resources to investigate. For Haarmann, the chaos was perfect cover, and for his victims, it was the beginning of a nightmare. Fritz Haarmann was born in 1879 to a strict, abusive father and a passive mother. From an early age, he displayed disturbing behavior. He stalked boys, harmed animals, and was often violent. At 16, he was sent to a mental asylum but later released. Haarmann lived on the fringes of society, blending manipulation with charm. By the time he reached adulthood, he had a criminal record filled with theft, fraud, and assault. But no one knew that his darkest urges were still growing and would soon explode into a wave of blood and terror. Fritz Haarmann's hunting ground was the Hanover train station. Every day, dozens of teenage boys arrived, runaways, drifters, and orphans searching for hope. Haarmann approached them with promises of food, work, or a place to stay. He gained their trust with kindness only to lead them to a dark fate. He brought them to his small apartment where he would assault, kill, and butcher them, often overnight. He used his position as a police informant to silence suspicion. No one questioned him. No one imagined the horror happening behind his door. Inside his apartment, Haarmann turned murder into ritual. Victims were strangled, then their bodies dismembered with precision. Witnesses later said they heard screams, but Haarmann always had excuses. He drained their blood, chopped their remains, and disposed of bones in the nearby river. Even more shocking were rumors that he sold human flesh as meat on the black market. Some say he even consumed parts of his victims. The police never searched his home. Protected by trust and fear, Haarmann continued his spree without resistance. Haarmann was no ordinary killer. He worked with the police. As an informant, he helped capture petty criminals and gained the trust of law enforcement. Officers thought of him as helpful, even loyal. But behind the scenes, he used that position to avoid suspicion. He knew how investigations worked, how to manipulate reports, and when the police were watching. His victims vanished, their cases forgotten. Haarmann used the system against itself, and the very people who should have stopped him protected him, unknowingly enabling his monstrous crimes. In 1924, fishermen discovered skulls and bones in the Leine River. As more remains surfaced, panic spread. Police connected the bones to missing boys, but had no suspect. Then one boy, lucky to escape, identified Haarmann. Investigators finally raided his home and were horrified. Blood-stained floors, buckets of human flesh, personal items of dozens of missing teens. The evidence was undeniable. The police had unknowingly harbored a killer for years, and the nation was about to face a truth more horrifying than fiction. The trial of Fritz Haarmann shocked Germany. He was charged with the murders of 24 boys, but many believe the true number was higher. Calm and cold, Haarmann admitted to the killings in chilling detail. He showed no remorse, even laughed during testimony. Crowds gathered outside the courtroom demanding justice. The press labeled him a demon, a butcher, a monster. On December 19, 1924, he was found guilty and sentenced to death. Justice had finally caught up, but the scars of his crimes would haunt Germany forever. On April 15, 1925, Fritz Haarmann was executed by guillotine. His final request was a cigar and a glass of coffee. He walked to his death without fear. Some cheered, others wept for the victims. The nightmare had ended, but questions remained. How did he get away with so much? How many lives were truly lost? And could such horror happen again? Haarmann's crimes became a grim lesson in trust, corruption, and evil hiding in plain sight. Crime history. Books, films, and documentaries have tried to understand what drove him. Was he born a killer, or shaped by war, trauma, and a broken system? Psychologists call him a textbook psychopath. But no study can undo the suffering he caused. The Butcher of Berlin remains a symbol of how evil can wear the mask of normalcy. He was not a creature of fantasy, but a man, hiding in plain sight. Behind every crime are the names we must remember. The boys Haarmann murdered were sons, brothers, and dreamers. They were forgotten for decades, lost to history. Today, their stories are told not to glorify the killer, but to honor their lives. We remember them. We speak their names. We ensure that monsters like Fritz Haarmann are never allowed to hide again. May their memories never fade, and may justice never sleep. This is the true story of Fritz Haarmann, the Butcher of Berlin. Evil isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers through history,